So let me tell you all my experience with police disparity. I was driving with my girlfriend at the time, and we got pulled over mainly because she wasn't wearing her seatbelt. It had nothing to do with me. Her and the officer started fighting and arguing and everything, and he told her if she doesn't calm down, he's gonna take me in.
The drug war has disproportionately impacted people of color at much higher rates than white people, and that's just a simple fact. And so knowing the history of the drug war, knowing the history of the war on weed is important when you also look at these numbers that are still in effect today of how many people are being arrested for possession and for dealing.
So he still arrested me and everything, and I ended up going to jail that night. They made me take a urine test, which I passed. There was no drugs in my system, but they still wanted me to be on a 12-month probation, and they had no record of who I am, no record of me being in jail, no record of even arresting me, nothing. Everything was just gone.
It's a medicine, not harmful at all. So people, let's fight for marijuana. Let's do it soon. Smoking nothing but the good. Wanna walk down the street and smoke a blunt? Come on and join me. What is the difference between decriminalizing and legalizing marijuana? You know? Comment to me with your answer. You know what I'm saying? Call in 414-935-2951. I'm ready to hear.
You going to the crib, you're going to enjoy yourself. You know what I mean? You're going to smoke. You're not going to hurt nobody. You're not on the street like going to kill somebody. You know what I mean? So,
free to weed.
Free to weed.
Nothing wrong with it. You can't find not one bad thing about it.
I know a lot of people would love it, you know what I'm saying? And they not bad people. They actually functioning people in the American community, if so to speak. A hard drug, you know what I mean? Like some other drugs, it's not a pill, you know what I mean? It's I don't really see a problem in it. If you can function, if it's your choice, why not be able to choose and not be judged and thrown in jail for something that's so harmless?
It grow from the earth. Free the weed. Free the weed, man. Everybody love it.
Look. Pete, alcohol and all that, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's more people dying from alcohol than weed accidents, man. You know what I'm saying? It's you get more people, like, getting into car accidents off being drunk than you would off
How many people
marijuana.
die from weed?
None.
We away.
They still haven't counted.
We away.
None. How many people overdose over weed?
We away.
None.
Not one.
So why
Not one.
why act like it's so
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm Angie Trudell Vasquez. I'm the office manager and volunteer coordinator for the ACLU of Wisconsin. Decriminalization means to lessen the punishment associated with either having it on your person, small amounts. I think the police have a lot of issues to focus on. If marijuana were decriminalized, they could focus more on violent crimes. When you have people that are locked up for marijuana and they're not able to take care of their families and they're not able there to raise their children and they're able to contribute economically to their household, I mean, that's a huge loss to the community. And I think we're going to look back on these times and see, like, we were really wrong to lock up all these people. 1 in 8 people, 1 in 8 African-American males have served some time.
They roughhouse me out the house and shit or whatever. That's, at this point, that's pretty much normal police protocol when your skin color is. As far as that's what I know. That's all we naturally know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they took me out the crib or whatever. Took me to detain me. Stayed in jail for 10 days, only to find out that the original charge they was looking for me for was dropped completely, and they was willing to give me probation for weed that they called a gram, but it was way less than a gram. But they got me for it though. They take the drug crime and you pin that to my name.
What's nice about the new change in the law, we know from studies that whether you are rich, poor, black, or white, the use of marijuana is consistent among those groups. It doesn't change. Blacks don't do it more than whites, don't do it more than Latinos, don't do it more than any other group. Basically, each group uses it the same. But because of the way things are enforced, one group or several groups get hit harder than another group. Because a lot of the policing that goes on in cities is data-driven, meaning where a lot of the offenses occur is where they send most of the police officers. And in those areas, there may be high minority populations or poor populations. Individuals in those areas have more police contact than somebody who would live in the suburbs who would use the same amount of marijuana than anybody else would use. But their contacts with police are more frequent, they get picked up more. So if that's the way you are doing your policing, then we as judges and as a system have to figure out a way to limit a disproportion amongst individuals who come before us. And so what I like about the change in the law is that now it treats everybody the same. Whether you are in the suburbs or in the city, if you get arrested for possession of marijuana, you're going to get a citation that's going to send you to a court where you're going to be imposed a forfeiture for that violation. Where in the past, it would be that you would get a citation in some jurisdictions you'll be sent to circuit court facing criminal penalties. Now we have some stability in that part of the system. Whether this leads to all-out legalization, I don't know. We know that several states have gone down that road. On initial viewing, it looks like things are successful. What's promising for me as a judge is that I see that we are finally starting to focus less on the retribution side of drug offenses and look more towards the underlying issues, whether they're treatment issues, whether they're poverty issues, whatever issue it may be that may bring someone to where they come to court as a result of this drug. We are now starting finally to focus, at least in the city, starting to focus on treatment options and options to address the underlying problem as opposed to incarcerating the offender.
I heard about the bill. I didn't think it was going to actually pass, to be truthful with you, just because of how Milwaukee is such a conservative type of city. So it kind of surprised me that they actually passed the bill. They're looking to save money on incarcerating people. That's really what it kind of looks like to me. I don't think it's a big incentive. It wasn't meant to be something that was good for the African American population. Basically, that's what I'm saying. I think it's more so about saving money in the long run. They still imposing fines where they're taking in money, but they're not actually locking people up and all that. So that's really how I see it.
So now here we are, and I don't know what's going on. Like, we won't know until we study a year from after it passed, right? Yeah. We're not going to know how did it come out?
Yeah.
You know, is it making things better?
But then when it came down to it, there were 10 votes in favor and only 3 against.
Some people that you think would know do not know that this went through.
I think that it was an important thing to lower the fine, along with giving the police the option to just write a second municipal ticket rather than to refer it to a criminal felony.
Right.
You know, I think it's something like, what was it, like 2/3 of the people, or the men who live in that zip code having a felony? So you think about that in just terms of, if you're going to be just take the human element out of it and just think of it in terms of money, it's like, well, hey, half the GDP for something like 60,000 people is gone.
I mean, not only do you pay a price in jail time or whatever, but you also pay this like ongoing price for the rest of your life every time you have to check that box that says I have a felony.
Regardless of what mistakes people may or may not have made, people shouldn't have to suffer their entire lives for
that. It just perpetuates the inequality.
Well, I mean, I think that the most compelling thing was just giving people sort of the right way to talk to their aldermen about it and to really highlight the fact that, you know, if nothing else, it's a racial justice issue. Yeah. And we need to be paying attention to that.
Like, from the fiscal policy perspective, we spend I think in Wisconsin it's like 30 or 40,000 per prisoner per year. But that at UW Milwaukee is like 3 years of school. That's crazy.
I feel like people are moving in another direction, and their leaders are gonna have to be like, you know, always catching up, you know.
Yeah.
And if we don't push them on this side, they will never move.